IMF staff and the Sri Lankan authorities have reached a staff-level agreement to support Sri Lanka's economic policies with a 48-month arrangement under the extended fund facility of about $2.9 billion. The objectives of Sri Lanka's new fund-supported program are to restore macroeconomic stability and debt sustainability, while safeguarding financial stability, protecting the vulnerable, and stepping up structural reforms to address corruption vulnerabilities and unlock Sri Lanka's growth potential.
So first, I would like to recognize the severity of the crisis here in Sri Lanka and the disproportionate impact it is having on the poor and vulnerable. Indeed, we have witnessed some of that while here in Colombo. So we came in the spirit to identifying policies that can help address this crisis and have Sri Lanka emerge from it. Secondly, IMF staff and the authorities have reached staff-level agreement to support Sri Lanka's economic policies with a 48-month arrangement under the so-called extended fund facility of about $2.9 billion. The arrangement is subject to the approval of IMF management and the IMF executive board in the period ahead and is contingent on the implementation of a number of so-called prior actions by the authorities, as well as receiving assurances from international partners, including bilateral and private creditors, on their financial commitments in support of the program. Third, the objective of this fund-supported economic program is to restore macroeconomic stability and debt sustainability, while at the same time protecting the vulnerable, safeguarding financial stability, and stepping up structural reforms to address corruption vulnerabilities and unlock Sri Lanka's growth potential in the time ahead. Fourth, the reform program is built on strong policy measures, and I just would like to highlight a few of them here. First, raising government revenue to restore fiscal and debt sustainability and provide the room for necessary fiscal spending. This will help regain confidence in and outside of Sri Lanka. Second, introducing cost recovery pricing for fuel and electricity to minimize the fiscal risks arising from state-owned enterprises. Third, restoring price stability by data-driven monetary policy, fiscal consolidation, and phasing out monetary financing, as well as stronger central bank autonomy. Fourth, rebuilding foreign reserves and safeguarding financial stability. And fifth, strengthening social safety nets to mitigate the impact of the current crisis on the poor and vulnerable. And lastly, reducing corruption vulnerabilities to promote sustainable and inclusive growth. The last substantive point I wanted to make is that really this staff-level agreement is only the beginning of a long road ahead for Sri Lanka to emerge from the crisis. In this context, the authorities have already begun the reform process, and it will be important to continue on this path with determination. The ownership of this process will help ensure their ownership will ensure that the necessary reforms will in fact be carried out. It's also very important to secure the support of all segments of society to allow the country to overcome the challenges so as to secure prosperity in the medium run. Now, because Sri Lanka's debt is assessed to be unsustainable, debt relief from Sri Lanka's creditors will be required to ensure debt sustainability. Having a path to restore debt sustainability, so-called financing assurances, is necessary for approval by the IMF Executive Board. And additional financing from multilateral partners will be needed to close financing gaps. Lastly, we would like to thank the authorities and all of our counterparts in the wider society for the excellent dialogue and warm hospitality, and are looking forward to continue our engagement in support of Sri Lanka and its people.
For more latest news, subscribe to FTTV.